Hello, greetings, and salutations, one and all. Welcome to week number 14 of Fractured Orders. I'm glad you all could be here today. We're playing on a Wednesday, which for those of you that watch this live know that is a day before our normal day, and the reason for that is we're playing twice this week. I know. Very, very exciting stuff. So if you're here live, thank you very much for showing up on the day we don't normally play. The good news is, like I said, we'll be playing again tomorrow, and it'll be fantastic and lovely, and we'll get a good, full, solid 8 hours of play here in the next couple of days. So feel free to tune in live. If you're watching this on YouTube, there's going to be a lot of content coming out right after this, so enjoy. Looks like all of my players have arrived on time, which is always great news, especially on an off day and weird week. So let me go ahead and turn on Discord and see how they all have been.
Yeah, no kidding.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, I was listening to Jordan's Twitch. Hey, Jordan.
Hello.
I'm talking to myself.
It's good to hear from you all again. On this day, our day that we don't normally play. I'm glad everybody can make it today.
Yay!
Yay.
It just means more Star Wars tomorrow as well, because that's how it happens sometimes. So I am very excited to hear how everybody has been, and then tomorrow to not even have to do that because we would have seen each other 24 hours ago.
You could still ask.
I'll still ask how the day was, of course. But we'll start at
a very interesting day tomorrow. I'll have you know.
We'll start at the top. What you changed your name in Discord, so I don't actually know what to call you anymore. What would you prefer?
East Kush.
You would like to be called East Kush. Did I hear that correct?
Yeah.
All right. How have you been?
So I have been okay. Nothing really interesting. Just been dealing with snow and leftover ice on the sidewalks. But other than that, this is my final week of university. Then I'm gonna be going back home for Christmas.
Well, that's exciting.
Uh-huh.
How is university going?
It's going okay. No complaints. Really.
That's
I
good.
mean, other than some specific topics that are teaching are sometimes boring and just But then again, guess I have to deal with them because they're apparently part of like game programming, all that networks and C++ and SDL and all that good stuff.
Well,
good
you know
stuff
what?
in quotation marks. Sorry.
At least you are learning.
At least, yeah.
At least learning is occurring, and that's always a good thing. We like to learn here. Anything else besides that?
No, not really.
All right. Kai, hello.
Hello.
Welcome. How have you
Thank
been?
you.
Tell us all about what you've been doing.
Been a couple of good weeks. Today was a really good day. Got to take most of the day off work, watch the new Star Wars movie.
Don't talk about it. I will.
I won't talk about it. So, yeah.
I am not afraid to remove you from this game instantly.
All right.
Jeez, calm down. Put the gun down.
Yeah, been good. Just good stuff all around.
That's awesome. Good to hear. Kids are all well. Nobody's sick.
Oh, well, yeah, our youngest has chickenpox.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Which is a pain, but it's just, she's fine. She's doing fine. She's a trooper. But she can't go to kindergarten, so we have to stay home for like a week. Work.
Right.
But it's, just chilling at home, so it's fine.
Well, added bonus, I guess. The silver lining,
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Mulan, hello.
Hello.
Tell us all about how you been. How you have been.
Been a very busy couple weeks. I've got a lot of jobs that are trying to finish up by the new year. Some of which just aren't going to, but they're trying very hard, which means I have to try very hard. And then been taking deliveries at the new place. Spent most of today building IKEA furniture. But all good stuff. All good stuff. Nothing negative to report.
Building
Nice.
IKEA furniture for yourself or for these jobs?
For
that
myself.
You have?
For myself.
Okay, what did you get from IKEA?
A sofa, some drawers, and like a bar unit type thing. But the drawers are surprisingly annoying because you have to put together each individual drawer, and there's just so many of them, and at the end I was just like, I'm just sick of drawers. But yeah, we've got a few other bits and pieces of furniture from different companies, but it's all coming together.
Starting to look like a real house now instead of just space.
Well, it was literally just an empty space because so yeah, it's getting there. It's really annoying because I built the bed on Monday, but the mattress doesn't come until the new year. So I was just looking at being like, I want to take a nap in you, but I can't.
That's exactly what I did when I first got my bed frame. The mattress was like a couple of days later, so I ended up sleeping on an air mattress next to my nice, beautiful bed frame. It was very upsetting.
Yeah, luckily for me, well, not luckily, I guess, but the getting the internet at the new place is still proving to be quite difficult. So I'm probably not gonna have internet until roughly mid-January, which is when the mattress is coming. So I'll probably just end up moving then. But who knows? Them they might be able to speed up that process somehow. I keep waiting for that one phone call that just never seems to come.
Seems, man, I've never heard of any internet taking that long. Do they have to like run the lines out?
Basically, what it is way back when the building that I bought a flat in, when it was rebuilt, they ran lines out to the building. But they only ran lines out for flats 1 through 4 because that's what was there at the time. They then have turned the ground floor into a flat, so my address is ground floor flat. I don't have a number, which is really weird.
Okay.
And so Virgin ran the cables out. I could get BT like instantly, but here Virgin is just simply the best. Like it's 200 megs and fit for like £50 a month, or it's 80 megs for £70 a month. Like, it's pretty simple which one I want to be with.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so they say, oh yeah, we have cabling for flats 1 through 4, but none for yours. But then the cabling for flats 1 through 4 was never actually used. So it's buried somewhere in the pavement outside because the landlord never gave permission to run the cables up the side of the building. So I am now on the ground floor, and I actually have like what is going to be my office is literally right on the ground, right at there. So I'm like, I don't need permission to run cables through the sidewalk. There's a garage door here. I can just throw it through that, like through there. But they need to get the right team to come out and locate where those cables are and like dig them up, and that's what's taking fucking ages.
That sounds awful.
Yeah, it's kind of making me tear my hair out. And it's like I know a lot of people at Virgin because of work. Like I deal with them all the time, and I was talking to one of the guys, and I was like, I do this with you like almost once a month, and we never have issues like this. Can't you just come? And he's like, I would love to, and I've tried, but because he's for a different region, he can't actually get access to the cable map for the region I'm in. It's just a massive clusterfuck. I'm probably gonna end up murdering someone.
That sounds awfully annoying, and I would want to pull my hair out.
Yeah, I don't have that much hair, so I gotta do other things.
Fair. That's a fair point. I hope that all works out much quicker than you anticipate.
Thank you. Me too.
Toasty, how many temporary masks have you purchased?
Temporary mask?
Well, yeah, because your state is on fire. Like, just literally on fire.
Well, see, the thing about California is it's always on fire. It's just always on fire in different places. So I'm not actually in the South, so I don't have any smoke or anything right now. like up near Sonoma is when it was on fire before, which is where I'm kind of near. I'm in Fremont, but now it's down near Los Angeles. So, yeah, that's like 200 miles away.
Perfect.
Yeah, but it's kind of shitty. I don't know, whatever. I haven't really been doing much, honestly. Like, I was following the election yesterday, like, just gripping, but I won't talk about that.
Politics.
Yeah,
Not a good
sorry.
topic.
I didn't mean to talk about politics.
No, I said I was leading up to not a good topic.
Yeah.
Perhaps it would be topical if half the people in here it didn't affect at all.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I guess.
it's not a big deal for, like, a lot of people in here, but
Mhm.
it is kind of for me. I don't know,
Yeah,
whatever.
absolutely.
Yeah, but other than that, I'm just kind of, I don't know, hanging out, playing video games.
What video games have you been playing?
Right now, I got a new one. It's kind of stupid. It's called Blue Reflection, and it's this like magical girl RPG from Japan.
Fantastic.
And I mean, it's really not that great. It's like one of the worst RPGs I've ever played. But I
Oh no,
like
yeah, I'm sure it's awful, but it's Magical Girl, right?
Yeah,
So,
it's magical girls, so I love it.
yeah, exactly.
And then I'm also playing Binding of Isaac again. So
You know, every time I watch somebody else play that game, I always say to myself, why have I never purchased this? Because, like, I'm a super big fan of, like, completely random bullshit happening.
yeah,
Like, for example, RimWorld is one of my favorite games of all time, where it's literally just entirely procedurally generated the whole time. And then it kind of breaks down to the fact that I don't know if I would actually like the gameplay.
yeah. It's roguelike, so I don't know. Like, if you like
Right.
NetHack and stuff like that, then it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
But if you're not into like NetHack and stuff, it can be a little frustrating.
Yeah, no. One of these days I might pick it up and try and play with it. We'll see.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I've been playing. Generally being kind of a useless person. I've been drawing a little bit, but other than that, like.
But yeah, how's your character coming along? We saw updates a while ago, and then.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of dropped that project for now. I don't know.
Fair.
I'm really bad. I'm sorry.
No, I was just curious.
Yeah.
I thought it was super cool.
Yeah. I mean, I might pick it up again, but I kind of want to like. I need to learn a whole bunch of stuff. I'm not really that great, so.
Dude, let me tell you, I 100% understand the whole like creative process, like just not having any inspiration or like any desire to do it. I'm 100% on board with that because that happens to me a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of been my week.
Good.
I guess
Keeping
2
yourself
weeks.
busy doing nothing. I like those kind of weeks.
I mean, yeah, whatever.
Z, hello.
Hey.
What is going on with you? Tell us all about it. You're not on fire as well, are you?
Nah.
Okay, good.
Holiday season, lots of stuff going on. Did kind of met at one final for a class and then aced the second final for it, so it's, that's good, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, acing stuff is generally good.
And, other than that, I've been just listening to more Wheel of Time.
Oh yeah, you're doing the audiobooks, huh?
Yeah.
Man, that must be even worse than reading them, I would have to say.
I like the voice actors.
Oh, really? You like the narrator?
Yeah, they do all of like Brandon Sanderson's stuff,
Right.
for the most part. So I was used to them from that, and then so this is like when they're, I think newer to voice acting. So there's a little bit hiccups here and there, but it's honestly, some of it is less painful. Just because, like, when I'm reading something, I don't know, I read fast, but I get into these, like, the 30th time to tugs at her fucking braid. I'm like, oh my god, and I just like want to kill someone. But when it's on the audiobook, it's not as like it just kind of goes past. It's not like the act of reading that obnoxious sentence that just gets to you, I guess.
Yeah, no, totally. You're less it's easier for you to drown out the parts that you don't care about.
I never had an issue with like her those kind of quirks that everybody had or whatever, but I don't know.
I think it's just overdone a little
I only
bit
read
in
it up
that
to
series.
I only read it up to like the 5th or 6th book, I think. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's where it starts to get slow.
That's where it gets bad.
Yeah, I said I started to kill the books.
Yeah, the whole time.
Yeah.
It's so unfortunate that in those books, and don't get me wrong, I love the books. I absolutely love the entire series as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. The Aes Sedai, they end up just killing those books. Just like I just hate a lot of things about that whole part of that storyline.
Yeah.
But
it's like there's moments of greatness here and there, but you get like one per book per storyline. Like when Nynaeve accidentally restores Logain, and like that's a great moment.
Right. Absolutely. That's
But
incredible.
That's like the only moment that she gets in that entire book.
Right.
Yeah.
Or when she goes with Rand to Shadar Logoth, you know?
Yeah.
She has these really epic moments that happens about once a book, once a story arc, and then everything else is her tugging on her braid or pining after Lan.
Right.
Because
exactly. Or trying to take the kids home.
Yeah.
That was always my favorite. Like just the laugh about like, no, you don't understand. They're literally like they cannot go home. Like, why are you insisting that this is a thing they have to do? Why are you so stupid?
And her relationship with Lan makes like no sense to start with.
Yeah,
it's on like the shakiest footing, and it's like, oh, she loves him. What?
But she can't express emotions other than anger, so she doesn't know how to act.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, the series as a whole is fantastic.
It honestly should have been like 5 books instead of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can feel. You said you didn't get too far, like the ending. So, like, Robert Jordan died, right? Before he finished?
Yeah.
Which is what he said was going to happen. He said, I will write until I die. That's literally the words out of his mouth.
So, he was theoretically 1 book away from finishing it. Well, that 1 book turned into 3 books, and the very last chapter, like, epilogue bit, is all the stuff that he wrote, but it feels like he wrote it during the 5th book. Like, it feels like none of the characters had experienced the stuff they had for another 6 books.
Yeah.
And it just completely falls flat.
Yeah, and one of the things is like this happens in role-playing games too, like to equate it to something. If as a GM I go in with an idea of and this is usually what I do is I have the start and I have the end of what I want to do, and then everything else in the middle is completely nebulous. But the problem is, if I stick with that end and I try and guide everybody to that end, it's exactly what's going to happen as what happened in the Wheel of Time books, where the end was written, 15 sessions ago. But then all of this other stuff that you've experienced leading up to that single point isn't going to matter. It's Mass Effect 3, right? Where you get to the ending and you realize none of the shit you ever did even mattered at all.
Yeah. It's like... the DM is like the White Tower, and the players are all incredibly powerful to Viren.
Right, exactly. Yeah, 100%. It's actually very... So, you ready for this one? I thought about writing my own Wheel of Time RPG before. That's definitely a thing I have thought about.
Isn't there one?
So there is. It's not an official one, I don't believe.
It's based on the 3E system, and it's not great.
Yeah, there's been a lot of hacks, but the thing is, there's a lot of better systems than D&D to do it in, because D&D is not the correct system to do that in. Because
honestly,
as fluid as like the magic system, in air quotes, the magic system in that series is, you can't have specific spells that do specific things.
Yeah.
You just
like,
can't.
I think like Dungeon World or like
Yeah,
something like that would
something
be
far
best.
more narrative.
Or like
I could see like a
Riddle of
World of
Steel?
Darkness kind of style thing, because like with like even just mage, you can, as long as you have certain points in your skill, so you got like the what 5 or 6 different elements, and then you just like we'll make shit up as we go.
Yep. Yeah, definitely like the being able to kind of mix and match what. Actually, Savage Worlds would probably be, if I did anything with it, Savage Worlds would probably be a really good choice.
I think
because it's pretty open in the fact that like you can just add trappings to all the spells or whatever you wanted to do.
I think my problem with Savage Worlds is it like has a very discernible like end game.
Yeah.
Like
it doesn't have a whole lot of it. Well, by discernible end game, it doesn't have a whole lot of end game, right? It's not a great campaign system. It's a good like couple of session system, but it's not really a great campaign system.
Also, Genesis is available now from FFG, which is based on this system.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, and FFG would probably, I mean, just
Open Legend might work too.
Yeah. A lot of the more narrative systems I think would be way better. Like, for example, the FFG system that we play with, and this is going to be my segue. The FFG system that we play with would be really good for adding those like ridiculous effects that sometimes happen in the Wheel of Time series with the Sadar and Sadin, right? So yeah, triumphs and despairs, yeah, exactly. Burning yourself out might be a despair, right? Like you might just
Triumph would be like the easiest thing to work. Like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
Like,
yeah.
Man, that would be perfect for that.
Yeah, so a system like this would be good. There are some things that maybe don't fit as well, but yeah, no, definitely it would be an adaptation of this system, or maybe even the new L5R system that they're. I think Toasty wants to play L5R, but like where it's a little bit more gritty than Star Wars is, with the whole like actual medieval style stuff going on.
I always wanted to do Star Wars in an L5R system. I think it would be great.
Yeah.
Like with the Ijutsu rules and stuff. Oh my god. The dual rules, sorry.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But speaking of rules in games,
yeah, let's go.
we've successfully done our 30-minute intro, and we can move on now. Since it has been a little almost 2 weeks since we played, and we're going to go into a double back-to-back on back-to-back day session here. I do want to give a pretty good recap so that when we get into it, we can just jump right into it. So the whole thing that's been going on, the whole storyline, the arc that we've been working on for the past couple of sessions has been kind of twofold for 2 different characters, I think specifically. One of those characters being Mouse, who has specifically been trying to decipher this, or trying to find someone to decipher this this tablet that she has, right? This data pad. And in doing so, met up with a Slicer individual who stated that there was this list of people that needed to be dealt with. Punished in some way, humiliated, basically taken out of their positions of power, or, undermined so that their position of power didn't matter anymore, was essentially what you were asked to do in replacement of this. And in doing so, there was also this weird kind of tangential line that Jax had with his former colleagues, or colleague, specifically Mai Strika, who is a Mandalorian who also worked for the Arcana Syndicate, who appears to also be interested in these specific individuals, but for a different reason, because this list of individuals have been strange things have been happening to them. They've either gone missing, or some of them have been murdered. Some of them have been reported as committing suicide, or dying of natural causes, or some of them reported of like retiring early, like in the middle of big projects. Like basically the thing that you were asked to do, Mouse, has already been kind of happening to all of these people. And so it probably leads the party to believe that you may not be the only ones doing this, right? Like you may not be the only ones working on this particular task. Which means that it would be too easy to take credit for someone else's work and simply get your stuff done. Or you could, as I believe the party is kind of moving towards now, kind of figure out what's going on here. Because there's obviously some underlying story here between all of these people. Because from all intents and purposes, all of these people have particularly philanthropic ideals. One of them is the head of the drug enforcement agency, right, on the planet, and always has all of these accolades for keeping the streets clean. And then another one is a scientist who works on like making things better for the general population of Drucken, while keeping the planet clean, right, in all of the industrialized parts of the city continents that are going on. She directly interacts with like keeping everything clean and sterile and making sure that the air is still breathable, so it doesn't turn into Coruscant, right? One of the individuals is a clerk who does for the justices, for like the chief justices of the planet, who does a lot of clerical work and pushes forward a lot of like humanitarian efforts, or xenotarian efforts, as to coin a term. Pushes through a lot of like xenotarian efforts in order to make everything fair and equal for all members of society, regardless of their financial situation or that kind of thing. And so seen as a very kind of philanthropic individual. And then another one is the CEO of this major company who designs a lot of quality of life devices, be they droids or be they different types of mechanical things that just generally assist in everyday life, allow it so that people are able to do things that they wouldn't normally be able to do and have more time to spend doing whatever they want to do, as opposed to having to take care of chores and stuff like that. So all of these individuals, from the outside perspective, seem very good. They seem like very good individuals and people. So it is a little strange that they're disappearing, and it's caused a bit of I wouldn't say a panic, but definitely a bit of apprehension in the kind of upper echelons of the society that deal with these individuals, and they all appear to be quite solitary. However, last session we discovered, or I should say Xian discovered, that there was a connection between two of them. A connection between Monaco Ukula and Kellyanne, who was recently found murdered. And so it kind of led to a few questions that needed to be answered about that particular interaction, which is obviously any connection. There's no such thing as luck in the Star Wars universe. So that obviously led to certain things. There was a interaction between or I shouldn't say an interaction, but Jax had infiltrated the drug enforcement agency's headquarters, and had rolled, I believe it was like 2 triumphs, right?
Yeah, I got 2 triumphs.
Yeah, there it is, right there.
And all to leave me alone in their headquarters.
Yeah, exactly. For them to kind of like leave you alone and have to go deal with something. And that was right towards the end of the session. And after they had all like running around in chaos, you had made it your way up to the office. And you had searched through a couple of things. Now, I don't remember specifically if I told you anything that you found. I don't think that I did. I think
we ended at that stage.
Yeah, we ended where you were still kind of like searching and looking to find something. And secondarily, or I shouldn't say secondarily, because basically the party is all split up now. You're all in different parts of the planet, which obviously is great news for me. Because it not only allows me to give you a lot of one-on-one attention, but it also allows me to embroil you in things that you can't deal with all by yourself. So that's great. So, Dash, you had made contact, and I'm putting that in air quotes, with the Monaco Akula, who was this fairly attractive human woman who you were kind of, I don't want to call it stalking, but you were tracking her, knowing from Zian that there was like a cafe right down the street from her office that she frequented very often. You went and sat down. You were able to observe kind of what was going on, and at the end of it, due to your very high charm roll, I believe, you were able to get a phone number. She gave you her number essentially as she headed back into work. Perhaps she's interested. Perhaps she sees you as a influential contact. Who knows? But in some way, she didn't. She was charmed by you, and decided that was the next step she was going to take.
I was still surprised when you laid out that she was good at not being charmed. So I guess Dash kind of broke for that.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy to charm her. She is
At least I expected like nothing, and she would have just shrugged him off. But at least I appreciate this outcome as well, because now I don't suspect being Dash is not being suspected of being a stalker or something, that she would maybe contact someone or something. So
yeah, it perhaps was a a chance encounter in which she took to be intriguing to her. Next we have we shouldn't probably leave Mouse out of this, who has infiltrated kind of a semi-secure apartment complex. And you were tracking the doctor, right? Whose name is, I have it written down somewhere. Paola del Gladio. You were tracking Paola, who appears to be a quite I think you called it pretty typical of the intellectual community, in which seems a bit eccentric. She doesn't seem very social, but she does have she's always has caffeine, and is kind of always working, and doesn't really keep to like a specific schedule, is kind of erratic and spontaneous in that way. So tracking her has been somewhat of a challenge, but you are very good at tracking, it appears. And you're able to infiltrate her apartment complex. However, the current problem for you is you have no idea where exactly inside the apartment complex she might be, and it's a pretty big place. So that is one thing that needs to be concerned. And I think that the most important thing about her that kind of seemed a little bit off, perhaps, was the fact that she had a really a car that was above her station, right? She had like a speeder that was kind of above her position as like a lead research scientist, which maybe that's the one thing she has, right? Or maybe it kind of leads to believe there may be something different going on there. That'll need to be figured out. So, with that being said, we move on to Kin, Kin, you decided that you were going to go just walk right into the building.
Expertly infiltrate.
Yeah, expertly infiltrate. And after a series of perhaps unfortunate or fortunate rolls, depending on how you look at it, you found yourself in the waiting area to talk to Wilhelm, the CEO of this, I believe it was something with an M. Maretto, I believe, was the name of it. Oh no, that was the name of the car. That was the name of the car, right? They're an affiliate of SGI, right? I don't think I actually gave them a name. There you go. They can be the Atuka Corporation. And the Atuka Corporation, again, like I said, develops a lot of household quality of life devices, anywhere ranging from mobility devices for those who may be less mobile, those Xenos that may be less mobile, all the way up into like self-driving vehicles and droids that can perform a varying number of tasks. And that was kind of what you were identified for, is the fact that you were kind of a unique droid model, and that is kind of what gave you the foot in the door, as it were, because everybody was kind of interested as to why you were here. And last but certainly not least, Zian, you were in library, in the archives, I should say, and you were searching for some information in which you were relatively successful in finding a connection between two of the individuals. But I think that the most important thing that happened was right at the end of last session, there was a particular incident that occurred that kind of was triggered by the double triumph from Jax, where there was some sort of commotion that was occurring essentially across the street from the archives in an old kind of abandoned office complex or apartment building, in which you witnessed yourself a series of like blaster fire kind of moving up and down the hallways through like the windows, and then there was a YT-1300 freighter, right, that kind of flew down, landed on the roof. There was a couple people that like ran up into it while firing blasters, and then it kind of rocketed away from your location. And I kind of described it narratively is that everybody saw some aspect of that, right? Just to kind of influence to you as players the importance of whatever may have been going on, because it was a double triumph and it needs to be important in some way. And so with that being said, immediately following that incident, I want to start with you, Zian.
Yes.
I think that why do I always forget her name? I always forget her name because I never write it down. Yeah, Unan, thank you. This is why I rely on you guys to take notes for me. So Unan has been like trying to like pull you back inside because you don't want to get involved with whatever's going on. And at this point, like just immediately following, you see that there are a couple of like speeders and a couple of, I think you hear like kind of the screeches of some starships like in pursuit now of that area.
Maybe
also,
we should do Destiny.
Yeah, we're gonna go to that real quick before you do anything. But also, I want to forewarn everybody: they're doing some construction work on the outside porches, so I might mute myself occasionally if like it gets really loud. Just let me know.
Okay.
So yes, let's do admin stuff. It's been 2 weeks since I played, so it's one of those things. I've already cleared the pool, so why don't we roll some Destiny and see how well we're doing here. How strong the influence of the light and or dark side is. Holy shit.
Woo! Yes!
Hey, look, I rolled a
Pretty
light.
sure I'm still... Yeah, I still get an extra one from me.
It's gonna be a bad session, you guys.
I don't
I
think
got
that
a
is
good feeling about this.
Wait, what the how? Wow. I just kind of like, oh, that's a lot. All right, people.
Well, there you go. Feel free to use those at your leisure.
Oh, we will.
So, the episode probably starts with the good Jedi music, right? Like it just starts with that. That is what 2, 4, 6, 7. I think I have an extra one here. 2, 4, 6. Yeah, 7. 7 light side versus 2 dark side. So you guys have quite a large pool to play around with. Other thing, real briefly as well. Did anyone spend any experience, just as a general?
Yes.
Okay, you did, Kin. Okay, what did Kin spend some experience on?
I upgraded my coordination.
Okay.
So I can,
Mm-hmm.
that's it.
So you can jump on more sea monsters.
No, really, because I have the coordination dodge and the
Oh,
martial grace, where I can use
gotcha. It gives you
ranks and
benefits.
coordination. Yeah.
Cool. Zian, you said you spent experience?
Yeah. Between whenever we did this last and talked about it, I got preemptive avoidance. I can spend a destiny point to disengage from an engaged enemy as an out-of-turn incidental.
Nice.
and a knowledge specialization. So if I make a knowledge check with Xenology and I get a triumph, I can spend the triumph to get extra successes equal to ranks and knowledge spec. It's kind
Nice.
of
That's
crap unless you have a lot of it, and even then it's like, well, unless it's like super critical that you need to succeed at a knowledge check, it's almost always going to be more fun to use a triumph on something.
Yeah, absolutely. But hey, to be fair, I think that's the first, if I recall correctly, I think that's the first ability that anyone has that actually uses destiny points now.
I have one.
Oh, do you have one as well? Which one do you have?
It's coordination dodge. I can.
Oh, right.
When targeted by a combat check, spend 1 destiny points to add failures equal to ranks in coordination.
Cool. Excellent. Well, there you go. So, anyone else? Does anyone else spend any experience?
Me.
All right. What did Dash get?
Well, I got 2 ranks in control upgrades. One is to enhance the coordination skill. If I roll a force dice and also piloting planetary skill as part of the enhanced basic powers. And I also put another rank in grit, so I have +1 to strain again.
Nice. Fantastic. So we're going. You've gone down the enhanced path.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. I like it. It seems fitting for Dash.
I mean, he's not like a typical Jedi. He's more like trying to enhance his abilities. So maybe he himself is starting to concentrate, or maybe the Force is starting to like fill the gaps that have been there, or they're starting to like everything is starting to wake up.
Mm-hmm.
Like all systems are starting to be engaged inside him, like a ship. Like ironically.
Absolutely. You're the starship that is your life has been idling and is now finally moving into preparing for a hyperspace jump, perhaps.
Uh-huh.
Fantastic. I like that. So Zian, back to you.
Just FYI, I spent 20 XP and got lethal blows.
What does lethal blows do?
Add +10 per rank of lethal blows to any critical injury results inflicted on opponents.
Okay.
So
cool.
if I roll to crit, I just add 10 to the roll.
Yeah, they just have the modifier +10. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's like having vicious on every single weapon you have.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, and I guess Mouse, did you spend any experience?
Nope.
Okay. So everybody except for Mouse. So Zian, obviously you can do what you please in this moment, but I think that inherently the situation, and I'm saying this not to like. I guess here's how I'm saying it. I'm saying that because this is Star Wars, and because of the way the Star Wars works, just ever, feel free to metagame the fact that seems like an important thing that just happened.
Yeah.
There you go. That's I am giving permission to metagame the fact that whatever just occurred seems significant.
You can easily hand wave it away by saying, something makes you feel like that's significant.
Yeah.
The fact I'm a Jedi,
right?
Force. It's the easy hand wave for all metagame stuff.
It's
great.
Fantastic.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Exactly.
There you go, throwing that word around. None of us really understand, and some of us don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let's see. So I'll probably calm everybody and just explain what I saw, and then you guys have seen something of that, right? Like you saw some aspect of it, and we can piece it all together.
Jax would just respond with, "Let me know when the cops look like they're heading home."
Kin will just try to hold a hand over his communicator, not trying to mute it.
Yeah, it's just like a vaguely muffled, but you just have metal hands, so it's not really doing a great job.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
amplifies it.
Yeah.
So the thing is, like, would most how many people would realize the model of the ship?
YC-1300s are pretty common. You would recognize.
Okay.
Also, I believe, I don't know if I actually mentioned this to you, Dash, but I think I meant to, because it's important for you as a character. I feel like I did mention it, but I'll mention it again because I didn't do it in the recap. But during your part where you saw this occur, as the YT-1300 is like weaving in and out of the buildings, you can hear that the pursuers are in like TIE fighters. You can hear that the screech of the TIE fighter trying to pursue this this YT-1300.
Yeah.
And remember, just because they have TIE fighter doesn't mean they're bad in this particular setting.
No, it's like having old shit. It's like doesn't matter.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I guess
Like having a Pinto.
Yeah. El Camino.
It's a mass-produced, really bad starship.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really know if there's a whole lot I can continue to do at the archives. Like, best I could think is maybe see if there's any way to research who might own that, but that seems like not really my area of expertise.
Yeah, so the advantage that you have right now is the fact that you're so close to whatever this incident that occurred was.
Yeah.
Right, just proximity-wise.
Maybe
You
I'll
are in the area.
maybe I'll go back out and see if I can just kind of eavesdrop or just like be charming to the people that are in the area. Maybe ask if anybody's hurt and offer to help in any way. Like even just get them to a hospital or something and see what I can do.
Like, keep track of the police force,
Yeah, and try and overhear anything that they might be talking about.
Yeah, so when you approach the scene, it is still so like early on in whatever this incident occurred. There's no like barriers up. There's still kind of the DDF are still kind of like swarming the area a little bit. There's people shouting and there's like generally a lot of commotion. But you very easily are able to spot there are a couple of people who are like, if you've ever seen like a disaster movie where basically people are just like carrying people out at this point, like there's no medical crews here yet, right? And so there's probably like
I'm a doctor, I can help.
Yeah, so do you walk up? Because you probably see like there's two DDF guys that have like an arm over their shoulder and they're like carrying their buddy out who's like kind of wincing and kind of grimacing in pain. You can see his legs been like blasted to like smithereens.
I'm a physician, is there anything I can do to help?
Yeah, I think I mean you come up and you offer of help, and in this moment they're just like, yeah, like absolutely. So I think that they one of the guys that's carrying his friend says, he's like, we have to get away from the building, we don't know if there's any more. Come, let's go to a safe place.
Any more what? What happened to this guy? I need to know so I can start treating him properly.
I think the guy says, my fucking leg is blasted.
What kind of blast, though? Like a blaster, a mine, a grenade, other types of explosives?
Would you like to roll a medicine check?
Yeah.
I think it's medicine, right? How this game
works?
works?
I could probably medicine would figure out what happened.
Yeah, let me pull up the dice pool, because that's the thing I have to have up in this game. Yeah, I think it's just going to be an average check. It's not going to be particularly hard to identify, so why don't you go ahead and roll it?
Okay.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
so you can very easily tell that a large bore blaster rifle of some sort kind of hit this guy in the thigh, knee, leg area. Without significant help, he may need cybernetics to even like walk again.
Yeah, so standard weapons, not like disruptor, not like explosive, stuff like that.
Maybe not standard. You got 3 successes there, so I'll give you a little benefit here. This is far more powerful than just your typical blaster pistol or blaster rifle.
Okay.
The impacts have some punch. Typically, somebody gets shot with a blaster rifle, you know, they're going to be hurt and they're going to go unconscious, but this is caught, like, blaster fire itself doesn't cause a whole lot of physical damage because it's just not that powerful. It usually just, like, kind of burns you and incinerates your, you know, your skin, but he has, like, maybe even, like, chunks that are missing out of his clothing. So, like, there's significant more power here than would be typical.
But not necessarily disruptor. Or
No,
I don't
not
know.
disruptor. Disruptor isn't heat as much as it just, like, literally breaks apart cells, right?
Yeah.
And that's not what's happened here. It's just
Okay.
like large. It's almost like, in fact, you may not have had any experience with this, but it almost looks like it's like emplaced weapon bolts.
Okay.
Right? Like the difference between somebody using a handheld weapon versus somebody using like a turret or that kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. So then I'm going to, as we kind of move this guy to a safer spot, so I can do like a medicine to try and heal him. I want to try and kind of ply them a little bit for information and see what's going on, and maybe I don't really have the greatest.
Yeah, I just want to know in what
charm, because I don't think the stuff I'm good at is actually going to count here.
Yeah, it's all about how you want to do it, you know? Like if you want to be charming, like if you want to have like, I think bedside manner, if we're using that term, would be charm for sure.
Okay.
Here's the thing though, is they're just kind of mooks, right? So it's not that hard to charm them, especially in the situation where you're like helping. I think the hardest thing you're gonna have to get over here is like if they're even if especially the guy you're healing, who was obviously involved, right?
Yeah.
If he's even coherent enough to answer, that's probably like the biggest hurdle here. So I think it's just going to be an average check for you. I don't think it'll be anything else.
Okay.
So take a strain, probably because I think in this instance maybe you're trying really hard not to like be suspicious about it, so you're stressed out a little bit about it, right? Like you're just kind of like okay, you know, just let's not go too far. But your success here equals the fact that you get a bit of information.
Perfect.
So I think that as he's talking, he says to you, he's like, my partner, I saw him go down and I turned around the corner and my leg was sticking out too far, and then all of a sudden there was just these blaster bolts. This woman was holding this blaster rifle that was just too big to be allowed. Surprised we didn't pick up on it sooner, but all I remember now is just going down, and then as another one ran past me, he had a ugly face, some almost looked like a bug or insect. And he walked up to me and he pointed this weapon at me. It looked like a disruptor of some sort. But then the voice told him to stop, and he went running off. I'm lucky to even be here.
It's like, good, just keep talking. It'll help with the recovery. Tell me more about this woman. What'd she look like? What was she wearing? And just, like, go into try and do the medicine check now, I guess, as we're kind of continuing the dialogue.
Yeah, and he was like, heavy armor. Looked to be Mandalorian, perhaps. Fuck. She was wearing some sort of jetpack, perhaps, as well. I didn't see much more after that.
Okay. So let me do
you know someone who matches that description.
Oh, yeah. I definitely know someone.
I clocked that with the big gun. That bitch.
So let me do the medicine and see if I can heal him.
Yeah.
And,
for him, this is a significant injury.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a hard check here.
Yep.
And because you're just kind of like out on the street tending to him, I'm going to add a black dice.
Okay.
Because, you know, infection still is a thing.
Right. Let me see. I just want to check to see if I actually had any gear that might help. Nope. I did not get the physician's kit.
Next time.
It's like some first aid.
Yeah, this is basically you're putting a tourniquet on so he doesn't like bleed out from where he actually may be bleeding from.
Yeah. So is the dice pool ready?
Yeah, go for it. Oh,
Okay.
nice. So yeah, so you expertly handle the bandages, and I think that you can remove that strain that you took earlier. I think
Okay.
that what happens because of this as well, as you're doing this, more and more men and women are kind of being drug out, and it seems like there was some sort of like massive like operation that occurred. You see maybe a dozen DDF
Okay.
either police force. You see some people that are in like plain clothes, and then you see some people like you've seen cops undercover, right?
Right.
Where you're like, it's so obvious that they're cops.
Yeah.
You see like a couple of them being brought out, and almost all of them are injured in some way. You
Alright.
see that there are a couple who have like are deceased at this time, and they have like they're getting like bags put over them. But there's like a lot of injuries kind of surrounded, and I think that you're kind of being enlisted at this point to like help out with all of these
sure.
people.
How's this guy doing? Is
He's-
he like he's not gonna lose the foot?
He's gonna make it. He's definitely in shock.
Okay.
He's definitely in shock, and he probably will always walk with a limp unless he decides to get probably from the knee down at least replaced.
Let me see if we can help a little bit out on here.
Yeah. What do you want to do?
That.
Wow. So you
You're
can
harming him? I'm just joking.
yeah, exactly.
Guys!
So you begin to like as you're doing that, you're like stitching the like the tissue and skin back together. What do you want to, I mean, that's 4 force points. I don't know if you have any upgrades to like spend more or not.
I don't think I do. I think the most I have is just the basic power. The idea is just to make it so he's not going to walk with a limp if possible.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can do enough that he'll take some recovery time, but he should be fine.
Yeah. And not to be like super obvious where it's like, oh look,
Mm-hmm.
his leg that was totally torn up is now completely fine.
Yeah.
I just want to do like the stuff inside the body.
Yeah, he's not about to stand up and like go do something right
Yeah.
now. But yeah, no, you successfully complete that. I think that you break all the way through that. So he thanks you, and that's probably like the point at which like somebody else comes up to you and is like, you know, doctor, we have some more over here. Can you come with us?
Yeah, I can just lead me to them. Do you have any like first aid kits or anything in any of your vehicles that could help out?
Yeah, I think a couple people are probably grabbing some
Bring
stim
them over
packs,
here.
right?
Bring anybody else that can help out, and I kind of try and set up like a
triage center, right?
triage center.
Yeah, absolutely, cool.
And
yeah.
I'll keep plying a little bit for more information, and maybe each individual person can add a little tiny bit to the puzzle.
Yeah, sure. So at any point, do you message anyone about what you found, or is it like when you're all done that you finally relay all that information to everyone?
It's gonna be when I'm done.
Okay.
Just because I don't have any way of doing it over like text.
Sure. Right. Yeah. It's
So
Star Wars.
it's it would be
Imagine.
a little weird to just start talking on the comm link.
Yeah. Especially in the situation where like you're kind of there's a lot of people like with their eyes on you.
Yeah.
Okay.
The thing is, you can pretend that you're communicating with fellow medics.
Well, I
But you
don't
have
think
to make a deception check for that. So to see people that you're actually speaking to someone you're not.
well
I'm just saying.
Not
you
that
can
great
do it
at-
how
at-
you want.
deception, but also we
Yeah,
haven't
me
really
too.
established that I'm like making contact with any
Right.
medics or anything. It's mostly just I'm a concerned citizen who also happens to be a physician.
Right.
You know, is anybody here a doctor? And just kind of
Right.
volunteer, you know, that kind of scenario.
Yeah. Absolutely. Makes perfect sense.
So,
I'm a doctor.
So I think that once we'll fade away from that scene for a bit, and I wanna jump over to Jax real quick, because Jax, your interaction shouldn't be that hard.
That should be pretty straightforward.
So you're essentially just searching through the office, Well, actually, hold on. I think that looking back at it, your perception check was to find something in the office, right?
Yeah. The thing I rolled 2 triumphs on was to try and figure out. No, it wasn't. It was I knew where his office was.
Oh, right. Okay.
It was trying to figure out if I could find a way of sneaking into the office.
Okay.
Like I was specifically looking for a window that I could like use my grappling hook to climb in through from the outside.
Yeah.
And there are no windows.
Right.
But then there are also no cops anymore, so none of that shit matters.
Right. So when you enter into the office, you realize that there's not a whole lot of like physical records in here. Now he does have a computer terminal at his desk. He's also there's a couple of drawers that are at his desk as well, and there's probably like a file cabinet or 2. But it's not like an extensive amount of records or data that are just kind of sitting here.
So Jax would definitely start with looking through